Hey there, welcome back to my channel. If it's your first time, thanks for stopping by. I hope you'll consider subscribing. Today I want to talk about the big three. The big three specifically when we're talking about through hiking. For those who don't know, the big three consist of your pack, your shelter, and your sleep system. So why don't we hop inside where it's a little bit warmer and I'll let you take a look at my big three. Let's do it. All right, that's better. So let's dig into my top three that I'm going to be using on the Appalachian Trail in 2024. First thing I'll start with is my pack, which is right here, still fully loaded. So this is the Gossamer Gear G420. It is a frameless pack, which is one of the reasons why it's lightweight. A couple of reasons why I went this route. One was I found it at a pretty dang good price. It was brand new with the tags on one of those Facebook group gear trade shops. So picked it up at a good price. Like I said, it's lightweight. I think for the large size, which I have here, it is about 26 ounces. I've also added, however, on each of the two shoulder straps, I added one pocket for cell phone usage, storage, and another extra pockets here where I can store some snacks or whatever. I also opted to add in a water bottle holder, which is right here. Both of them came from Gossamer Gear, found on their website, relatively inexpensive and very lightweight. I think each one of these is maybe like 1.5 to 2 ounces a piece, so it doesn't add much to the backpack's weight. The way I have it set up, it's about 28 to 29 ounces total with these two shoulder strap components. Something else I like about it is it has this built-in sit pad, which you can actually remove. You can use this as your sit pad when you take breaks or have a snack or whatever. Need to duck out of the rain for a few minutes. It's nice to be able to sit on. You can even fold it over if you want to and get a little more cushiness. But it just stores right back in there, so I do like that option. It allows me to not have to have an additional padding to kind of carry around to need. It's kind of dual purpose, if you will. Since it is a frameless back, it helps add some comfort up along your back when you're actually wearing it. So it's another reason why I like this pack. It does come at a cost to a degree. If you overpack a frameless pack, it begins to ride heavy, and it certainly isn't the most comfortable type of pack. But for right now, where I'm at with my base weight and things, it seems to be doing me pretty well. So I'm okay with the color. It's kind of blue-gray, which I think is just fine. I have no issues with that. Another feature that I like is each hip belt has a nice pocket, a nice sized pocket. I've got the iPhone 15 Pro, whatever it is, and it fits in these, so it's a nice size pocket. Usually what I'll put in here is maybe my rolled up rain jacket or some snacks, something like that, because I have my cell phone pouch right here. So if I have any complaints, one might be just kind of the water bottle storage, other than my one up here. If I had to reach for my second, it's a little bit back here. Not as easy for an old guy to get his hand back, but again, I have my primary water bottle up front, so it works out pretty well. I do like that it's got a lot of lashing on the side, so you can see it helps keep some components strapped in there. I actually keep my shelter right here in this large pocket here on the side, so that holds up pretty nice. But it's got a lot of different areas where you can lash onto things. There's a couple more things I'm going to add to this as well, lightweight things, but all in all, this pack's done me pretty well so far on all my training hikes. Don't have any complaints necessarily at this point, and I'm going to continue to give it a go. Speaking of my shelter, we'll jump right into that. Keep the video rolling. Really three things, I guess, go with my shelter. Number one is I have a piece of Tyvek here. This is what I use to go underneath my shelter, underneath my tent. I've been using it every time just to provide a little bit of extra protection. against any rocks, pebbles, sharp roots, things like that, fallen branches, whatever. So I do have that. It comes in at about 2 ounces, I think. So that's pretty convenient. I'll just slide it right in there for easy access. And then I have this actually shelter. So my shelter is the, I don't know if you can read that or not, 6 Moon Design Trekker. So Skyscape Trekker. So this is a 3-season tent. It's considered a hybrid double wall tent, and it's a 1-person tent, and it weighs about 28 ounces. So I actually got this, I'm a kind of a sale shopper. I got this during their July 4th sale last summer of 2023. It was marked down a fair amount, and I went ahead and picked it up. I like the fact that it was pretty lightweight, and the price point was definitely reasonable compared to a lot of the other manufacturers out there. So I read a lot of reviews, I did a lot of research, and found a lot of happy customers. Searched on YouTube and Reddit and several other sites, and folks generally seem to really like this tent for the price point that it's at. It is a trekking pole tent, so I will have my trekking poles. They're actually right here behind me. So I have my 2 trekking poles right here, so I will use them each time I set the tent up. And I've been doing that already several times, and I've got it kind of almost down to a fine art. I'll insert some pictures at some point here where I've already had this set up. I'll just insert them so you can kind of get a look at it. Since it's crazy snowing outside today, won't get it up. But I did also pay a little bit extra to have the seams sealed. So the seams are sealed on this tent. On the inside, I've looked and I've verified all the seams. They all look really good to me. Like I said, I've used this several times already. I have yet to find anything leaking. So far so good. I know the real test will be out there on the AT when we find those 3 and 4 day runs of nothing but rain. But for now, I'm going to run with this tent. It's treated me well. I'm roughly 6'2" or so and about 215 pounds. And something else that drew me to this tent was there's several reviewers who are 6'5" to 6'7", and they said that they fit in this tent quite well. So I just want to make sure that I had enough room before I purchased the tent. I get that I'm not super tall, but I'm tall enough and big enough where as I'm moving around a little bit, sitting up in the tent or taking off a piece of clothing or whatever, I want to make sure that I had adequate room for a 1-person tent, and this one seemed to fit the bill. So it's another reason why I went ahead and went this direction. So anyway, that's my shelter. I opted for the aluminum stakes from, I believe, Z-Packs. Find out here real quick. Yeah, the blue Z-Packs. I believe these are the 7-inch, if I'm not mistaken, aluminum stakes, and I've got about 8 in there. This particular tent, I think it takes 6 to set it up. Since it is a trekking pole tent, it takes 6 of the stakes. So I've got a couple spares in there, which is great to have. I do like that they got some kind of glow-in-the-dark orange string so that it might be a little bit easier to locate them and hopefully not lose them, although I expect I probably will lose 1 or 2 at some point. But I've got a couple extras in there just for good measure. So that's my stakes to go with my shelter. I'll put the important data to the stakes and the tent and all that. I'll put some snippets up here, kind of show you how much each weighs and things like that. And let's get into my sleeping system. Okay, so the sleep system that I'm going to have on the AT in 2024 is made up of 3 primary components. The first one is this Nemo Tensor insulated pad. So it has this blow-up bag for those that have no experience. It's got this big bag which you use to inflate it. It has this valve right here. So that valve goes on the valve on your insulated pad, which is right here. And basically you blow in the one end. I won't fully demonstrate it here, but you essentially blow in here. Once it's connected, you just start rolling it in. All the air shoots right into your pad. So I found that usually for me about 6 or 7 times of blowing into that inflatable bag that my pad becomes adequately inflated. So not too bad. And it doesn't take a whole lot of breath, to be honest with you. I am researching a small flex tail pump, for those who know what I'm referring to. They're about 2-ounce pumps. They weigh nothing, and they're about this big, and it's kind of rechargeable. You put them on there and kind of blow your pads up, things that way. So I'm certainly considering that. Just haven't made that purchase yet. Second component of my sleep system is this kind of inflatable pillow. It's a no-name. It's called Ricky Ticky. I don't know if you can see that or not. Ricky Ticky was the name brand. I just purchased it off of Amazon. It was super lightweight, and it's really compact, and it folds up inside its own little carrying pouch right here. So it's super small once you get it folded up. It's got a nice kind of soft, almost like a pillowcase feel to it on this side. The other side not so much, but this side is certainly comfortable. I haven't been able to find the best sleep with this pillow yet, so I'm not 100% certain it's going to go with me, but for right now it is. I may go with one of the Nemo Philo pillows or something, but maybe it's just too small for my big head. I don't know. I just can't quite seem to get super comfortable with it, so jury's still out on the pillow. And the final component to my sleep system is my quilt. I did a lot of research on a lot of my gear, to be honest with you, but I certainly spent a lot of time and effort and energy on researching my sleep quilt. I went through the whole gamut of sleeping bag versus quilt, what made the most sense for me and my type of sleeping. I'm generally a side sleeper, although when I always tend to wake up in the middle of the night or in the morning, I'm on my back. But I can't fall asleep on my back for some crazy reason. Some of you probably know, maybe you're the same way, but I always tend to fall asleep on my left side, and I generally tend to wake up on my back. So it tells me I kind of roll around quite a bit at night. Matter of fact, I know I do, because usually when I roll over, you kind of subconsciously wake up a little bit and reposition. So I do roll over quite a bit, which is one of the main reasons I went with the quilt. So the one that I ended up going with is the Katabatic Flex 22 from Katabatic Gear. I've used this several times already. I think it's probably charcoal on this side, and I honestly can't remember the name of this pretty blue color, but I dig it. Why did I go with Katabatic Gear, you might ask? I researched for probably 3 months on quilts. I created a spreadsheet, the whole 9 yards. I really wanted to spend some time on this piece to try and get the best bang for my buck, while also considering lightweight and value and reviews. So I watched, again, a number of YouTube videos on all different manufacturers and read through numerous Facebook group forums and the whole nine, Reddit, did it all, and I settled on the Katabatic Flex 22 mainly for a couple of reasons. One was they seem to have a very good reputation, if you will, when it comes to quilts and really all their gear. Service after the sale was something big that I picked up on as well with Katabatic. A couple of things I really like about it is it's got this draft collar. A lot of manufacturers, I believe, charge more for a draft collar, adding it on, where Katabatic actually came with it. I didn't pay any more to have this. Might not be able to see it as it's been in the storage bag, but it's got this little collar right here. The beauty of this quilt, well, there's quite a few beauties really, but one of the things I like the most, I think will be most useful for me, is that it doesn't have a sewn foot box. Personally, I just didn't want that. I wanted to be able to open it all the way up and use it as a quilt as the temperatures began to get warmer. But obviously, when it is cold and I want it more like a sleeping bag, You know, you literally just fasten it right there. It's got this drawstring. Pull the drawstring down, and you can see just by design, it almost has its own seal right here that comes out of the bottom and seals up that end of the foot box. So there's really no air at all getting through there. So that's one of the main things I like about this quilt. I really think it's gonna serve me well, and it's super soft and super lightweight. So I did opt for the long wide quilt size because, again, I'm not super big or tall, but I am bigger than average. So, and the fact that I move around quite a bit when I sleep, I wanted something that I would be able to maneuver around in during the night and not feel constricted or anything like that. So I opted for the long wide version. So naturally that's going to be a little bit heavier than had I gone with a regular size quilt. But this one comes in at 28 ounces. So again, Flex 22 from Katabatic Gear quilt, and comes in right at 28 ounces on my scale, but super lofty. It's so soft. I'm just really in love with this thing. So like I said, I've used it a number of times. I've used it in some cold weather already, although I'm planning to use it again on an overnight coming up real soon. This next week, we've got lows here down into the single digits. So I'll figure all that out, but I really want to get in here and test my gear in some of these really cold conditions, just so that I understand what the limitations of the gear are. I think that's one of the most important things to recognize is the limitations, and I want to use it like I'm going to use it out there on the AT, meaning with the same clothes I'm going to have it on the AT, and same insulated pad, pillow, everything. And I may just do that right here in the backyard because it's going to be pretty daggum cold, and I want to make sure that if I need to bail, you know, at least I'll know the limitations for me as a sleeper, and I can duck in the house if I need to. But very important that you know the limitations of your gear, or the capabilities for that matter. So I'm hoping with this cold snap coming in that I'll be able to use that for information for me during my thru hike. So as I said, hopefully by this point you would have already seen, I'm going to throw some data up there on each of these systems as the vlog goes through, and hopefully that'll give you all the answers. If you have any input, questions, anything like that, please put them down in the comments. I'll also put links to each of these items in the description box below, so make sure and check that out if you're interested at all. But all in all, just thanks for stopping by. I hope this did somebody some good, and I'll catch you on the next one.